Under the brilliant blue sky of Memorial Day, the sound of thousands of footsteps echoed along the bustling streets. In a crowded corner of the city, a man in a crisp military uniform, the metallic gleam of his medals shining under the sun, stood tall like a living statue. It was Sergeant Alex Carter, a veteran with a deep, unshakable respect for the fallen comrades who had paid the ultimate price. Despite the scorching heat, as if it were burning through his very muscles, Alex stood straight, his arm raised in a silent, solemn salute. His uniform was adorned with badges and patches, each one a testament to years of unwavering service and the achievements he had earned. Before him stood the war memorial, engraved with the names of those who had given their lives for the country. 15 minutes passed, then 30, but Alex remained there, unmoving as though time itself had come to a halt. All eyes were on him, the lone man standing amidst the bustling city. In him they saw not only respect but also extraordinary resilience. A wound on his body, a painful memory from the battlefield long ago, caused sharp, searing pains to flare up, but Alex remained undeterred. He had promised himself that this moment would be his tribute to those who had fallen, and today he kept that promise. Alex's action wasn't just a gesture of gratitude for those who had sacrificed their lives. It was a symbol of courage and an unwavering spirit. What he did that day would forever be etched in the hearts of those who witnessed it, a reminder that the sacrifices of soldiers would never be forgotten. Mark and Alex Carter were identical twins, so much alike that no one could tell them apart. But what truly made them special was the unbreakable bond they shared. From childhood they did everything together, from mischievous games to grand dreams. Their connection was so deep that the thought of being apart was unimaginable. That was why both of them decided to join the Marine Corps, sharing the ideal of serving their country and protecting freedom. They stood side by side on every mission, shielding and protecting each other, just as they had since childhood. Their plan was simple: serve their country together, then one day return home and live peaceful lives. But fate had other plans. Alex stood there in the battlefield of memory, amidst the explosions of bombs and the faint glow of war's flames. The images of that fateful day played in his mind like a slow-motion film. Their unit had been ordered to enter an area held by the enemy. No one knew it was a trap carefully laid out. Gunshots rang from every direction, cold bullets tore through the air, and enemy snipers lurked in the shadows. The entire unit fell into chaos. Alex was shot in the leg, the pain searing through him, causing him to collapse, unable to move. Everything around him faded, but he could still clearly hear Mark's voice calling his name. In that moment, Mark didn't hesitate. He rushed to Alex's side, disregarding the hail of bullets, pulling his wounded brother to safety. Mark didn't care about the danger. He was solely focused on saving Alex. But fate, cruel and unforgiving, struck. A bullet from an enemy sniper tore through the air and struck Mark in the head. Alex couldn't react in time. All he saw was his twin brother falling onto him, his eyes closing forever. "Mark, don't go!" Alex screamed in despair, but all he received was silence. Mark's blood soaked his uniform, and each passing second felt like 1,000 pounds pressing down on Alex's heart. When their comrades arrived, they pulled Alex and Mark's lifeless body from the battlefield. But the memory of that day never left Alex. It haunted him in his dreams, in the quietest moments, like a wound that would never heal. Standing in the middle of the crowded street, Alex recalled everything. The pain from his old leg wound seemed insignificant compared to the ache of losing his twin brother. But over time, Alex learned to face the truth. Mark had sacrificed himself like a hero, and Alex knew he had to live on to tell that story, to keep Mark's flame burning forever. The act of standing in salute for 3 hours today wasn't just an honor for Mark, it was a promise Alex made to himself. No matter what happens, he would never forget the brother who protected him with his life. Under the harsh sun, a tear silently fell from Alex's eye, not out of sorrow but out of gratitude. A smile flickered on his lips as he closed his eyes, as if he could hear Mark's familiar voice somewhere near. "I'll always be here, Alex. Never forget." The midday sun blazed, so intense that spectators along the street had to raise umbrellas for shade. But Alex Carter stood there, motionless like a living statue. His arm raised high in a solemn salute, even after 2 hours, his muscles aching with pain. His uniform soaked in sweat, clinging to his body, but Alex paid it no mind. This wasn't just an act, it was a promise he had willingly taken on, to never forget the sacrifice of his comrades and especially of Mark, the twin brother who had fallen for him. The pain from his old leg injury made every passing minute a challenge, but Alex remained steadfast. He knew that his discomfort was nothing compared to the sacrifice of those who fought and fell on the battlefield to protect freedom. People around him couldn't take their eyes off him. They whispered to each other, admiring the resilience of this lone veteran. Alex's actions were not only a tribute to Mark, but also a symbol of the courage and unwavering spirit of all the soldiers who served their country. 3 hours passed and the sun seemed to melt the very air. Some people in the crowd began to leave, but most remained, drawn in by the deep meaning of Alex's gesture. Just then, a rumble from afar broke the silence. The sound of motorcycle engines grew louder, like thunder tearing through the sky. All eyes turned toward the sound, where motorcycles were approaching. The riders were clad in black leather, adorned with patches and symbols that told stories of battle. Their faces were hard, grim like street warriors. The crowd whispered nervously. Some began to walk away, fearing these riders might disrupt the solemn atmosphere Alex had created. The engines roared closer, the heavy motorcycles snarling like beasts in the heart of the city. Their presence made some wonder, were they here to cause trouble? But as the procession neared Alex, all concerns melted away. The riders unexpectedly slowed down, then stopped right in front of him. One of them dismounted, walking toward Alex with a serious expression. Without a word, the rider raised his hand in a military-style salute. One by one the others followed suit. Their respect was palpable and it spread through the street like wildfire. The crowd stood in stunned silence, not believing that the group they once considered troublemakers had come to pay their respects. Alex, though exhausted, held his salute, standing firm like a pillar in the midst of the crowd. This act not only shattered preconceived notions but also deepened the meaning of the memorial. The roar of the motorcycles, powerful and commanding, didn't disrupt the reverence. Rather, it reaffirmed that respect and gratitude for the fallen transcends all boundaries. In front of hundreds of onlookers, Alex and the motorcycle riders stood there, blending into the solemn atmosphere of the Memorial Day. It was not just a moment to remember those who had passed, but a reminder of the strength of unity, of respect that rises above all differences. The reputation of motorcycle riders is often not held in high regard by society. Stories of their free-spirited lifestyles and rebellious nature have fostered many prejudices. Their rough appearance, dark leather jackets, and the roar of their engines have caused many to view them with caution, even fear. Some see them as troublemakers who don't obey the law. Yet few know that beneath this tough exterior, many of them are model citizens, peace-loving, and hold noble ideals. Some are even veterans, who have served and sacrificed for their country. As the motorcycle procession stopped, the riders dismounted in silence. Their black leather jackets did nothing to lessen their imposing presence, but it was their eyes that told a different story. These were not cold, indifferent stares but ones filled with depth, reflecting a heart full of empathy and respect, something only those who truly understand could recognize. The entire street held its breath. People seemed to freeze in place, watching intently. They didn't know what would happen next, but the arrival of the motorcycle sparked both curiosity and anxiety. Many expected a disruption, an action that would shatter the solemn atmosphere Alex Carter had created. But what followed left everyone stunned. One by one, the riders formed a circle around Alex. Not a word was spoken, not a sound was made. They stood tall, in perfect formation, their posture respectful, and in a moment that would be etched in the town's history forever, they all raised their hands in salute. The gesture was powerful, full of reverence, as if to say, "We stand with you, Alex. We remember and honor those who sacrificed." Silence enveloped everything. The crowd was absorbed into the sacred scene. Those who had previously been misunderstood as troublemakers had now become a symbol of respect and unity. Alex stood in the center of the circle, his eyes welling with emotion. He didn't say a word, but his heart was full of gratitude. These strangers had appeared not to disrupt, but to strengthen the monumental moment. They were honoring not just Mark, his fallen twin brother, but all those who had given their lives for the country. Their actions were like a silent vow, a promise that those who had fallen would never be forgotten. And in that moment, under the blistering sun, in the midst of the bustling street, Alex Carter was no longer a lone soldier. He now had new brothers, ones who would always stand beside him, not on the battlefield but in preserving the memories and legacy of the fallen heroes. Alex Carter's eyes shone with appreciation as he gazed at the circle of riders surrounding him. These individuals, once misjudged by their tough exteriors, had become symbols of honor. One of them, a tall man with tattoos running down his arm and a sun-weathered face, stepped out of the circle. His appearance might have intimidated others, but his eyes spoke. volumes of kindness and deep empathy. The man slowly approached Alex, each step making the crowd hold its breath in anticipation. As he slipped his hand into his leather jacket pocket, a wave of anxiety swept through the onlookers. "Is that a knife?" one woman whispered. "Or maybe something even more dangerous," another replied, her eyes never leaving the movements of the rider. But then all assumptions melted away when he pulled out a cold bottle of water. A collective sigh of relief spread through the crowd, and some couldn't help but feel embarrassed for having misjudged the motorcyclist. "Take a sip, buddy," the man said warmly, unscrewing the cap and holding the bottle close to Alex's mouth. Realizing that Alex couldn't move his arm from the salute, the rider cleverly held the bottle for him to drink. The cool water slid down Alex's dry throat, quenching his thirst and giving him renewed strength. He nodded his thanks, his eyes glistening with emotion. The rider only smiled, stepping back to rejoin the circle of his companions. But the story didn't end there. As Alex remained standing rigid in the searing sun, another motorcyclist approached. He wasn't carrying a bottle of water but instead held a small fan, something seemingly simple but profoundly meaningful. He stood next to Alex, gently fanning him to ease the stifling heat. The cool breeze from the fan not only relaxed Alex's body but also soothed his spirit. His eyes welled with tears as he deeply felt the empathy these people had for him. That small but powerful gesture left the crowd speechless. The prejudices against the bikers seemed to dissolve bit by bit, revealing a different picture. People who cared, who were united, and who were ready to share in kindness. By now, Alex was exhausted. The intense heat and the pain from his leg wound made him feel like his legs might give way at any moment. But thanks to the support from the bikers, he stood firm, maintaining his salute in honor of Mark, his fallen twin brother, and all the comrades who had given their lives. The actions of the bikers not only helped Alex but also built an invisible bridge, connecting them to him and to all those who had misunderstood them. In that scorching heat, a warmth spread, uniting strangers and reminding everyone that humanity still exists in this world. And just when people thought it was all over, something unexpected happened. An umbrella was raised, shielding Alex Carter from the intense heat. Another biker, with a sun-weathered face and determined eyes, stepped behind him. Without a word, he quietly opened the umbrella, creating shade and easing the burning sun from Alex's head. That simple gesture not only relieved the discomfort of the Marine but also left all the witnesses with a sense of warmth, a reminder that kindness still exists in the world. With each passing minute, Alex couldn't help but wonder how he could ever thank these brave bikers. Those who stood by him, offering their support without any reason other than empathy and humanity. As the sun sank lower behind the horizon, the sky shifted to brilliant shades of purple and gold. It was a beautiful natural scene, but it couldn't compare to the human sight of people coming together in respect and unity. When the sun finally disappeared, Alex lowered his arm, ending the salute that had lasted all afternoon. A sense of fulfillment washed over him. He had completed the task of honoring Mark, his fallen brother, and all the comrades who had given their lives for freedom. The bikers also lowered their salutes in unison. One by one they approached Alex, either shaking his hand or bowing their heads in a formal gesture. No words were necessary, their eyes and every movement spoke volumes about the deep respect they held for Alex and all those who had sacrificed. It was a clear testament to the unspoken bond between those who truly understand the cost of freedom. Alex offered a gentle smile, thanking each of them individually. Then he turned toward the crowd, speaking in a strong but emotional voice. "Today I've witnessed something truly beautiful. These bikers, who might have a bad reputation on the streets, have shown us the opposite. Not only did they support me but they also demonstrated that there is still so much goodness in this world. We often rush to judge others based on their appearance or rumors, but today they reminded me, and all of us, that the true nature of a person lies in their heart, not in what we see on the outside." Alex turned back to the bikers, nodding gratefully. They responded with smiles and steady gazes. The sense of inspiration spread among the onlookers, reminding them of the importance of understanding and respecting one another no matter how someone may choose to live. The motorcycles roared to life, their engines starting up. The bikers departed one by one, each carrying with them the hope that society would come to understand them more. Alex stood quietly, watching them until the last silhouette disappeared into the horizon. Even though he might never see them again, he knew the moment they shared today would live on in his memory forever. When Alex returned home, his heart was full of emotions. He had kept his promise to Mark, to his fallen comrades, and to himself. He realized that miracles don't happen through grand words, but through silent actions that carry profound meaning. This story closes not only as a lesson for Alex but for anyone who has ever rushed to judge another person. It reminds us that to truly understand someone, we must look deeper into their heart, not just skim the surface of what we see. If you've ever judged a book by its cover, share your thoughts in the comments. And remember, always keep an open heart to discover the good in those around you. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. During the content creation process, there may have been some small mistakes, and we hope you'll kindly overlook them. Wishing everyone happiness, peace, and good health in life. Stay tuned for more.